Books presents a sci-fi audio production, Chill by Elizabeth Bear. This unabridged recording is narrated by Alma Cuervo. Sci-Fi Audio is an imprint dedicated exclusively to science fiction and fantasy titles on CD, from classics to bestsellers, cult hits to critically acclaimed award winners. And now, Chill.
From Henry IV, Part 1, by William Shakespeare. Glendower, I can call spirits from the vasty deep. Hotspur, why so can I, or so can any man. But will they come when you do call for them? Chapter 1. Halfway to Standing. From Letter to a Young Activist During Troubled Times, by Clarissa Pinkola Estes, Ph.D. When a great ship is in harbor and moored, it is safe, there can be no doubt. But that is not what great ships are built for. The first hint of returning consciousness was the icy tickle of fluid dropping across his lids, lashes, nostrils. Pain followed, the tidal roll of hurt through his body, too severe for his symbiont to heal or silence. Tristan Khan opened his eyes within his acceleration tank. As the hyperbaric fluid drained from around his chest, his diaphragm spasmed. Shattered ribs ground in his flesh. The tank spilled him on the slotted deck, festooned like a newborn with blood-stringed goo. He pushed against the deck, but pulped arms could not lift his face from the puddle of oxygenated fluid. He heaved. Slime roped from his nose and mouth, tinged blue with blood, bringing with it bright pieces of tooth and lung. He could not raise his head. He thought, then there were none, and wished he could give himself up for dying. But here he was. And if he was hurt, he was living. Beside his shattered cheek, cobalt tendrils groped across the deck, met and merged like pooling mercury, then sent questing distributaries crawling out until they found Tristan's skin. As his symbiont repatriated its estranged fringes, pain increased. Crushed bones shifted in rent meat, his body and its symbiont struggling to heal. He might have whimpered, but the whistle of compressed breath was his loudest sound. As the fluid dripped between his shoulders and down his neck, he lay slumped, staring along the seemingly infinite curve of acceleration pods lining the hold. The weight of all that empty space pressed him to the deck as surely as did the world's artificial gravity. In this position, Tristan had time to think. One of the things he thought was, isn't it peculiar that mine is the only opened tank? He lay there until the fluid on his body had dried to yellowish crusts, and cold air raised his skin in plucked bumps. The grinding of bone fragments lessened as his symbiont forced his skeleton into shape. Once the bones began to knit, torn flesh and bruised organs healing, the symbiont had sufficient capacity for managing his pain. He got a full breath without screaming, felt his ribs expand and his diaphragm flex, and pressed a palm flat to the corrugated decking. The hand expanded as his weight bore down. Within the envelope of his skin, flesh and bone held. He straightened the elbow, lifted the shoulder, dragged the second numb arm out from under his body, braced it as well, pushed, locked out both elbows, and let his head hang. On your knees was halfway to standing. Tristan gritted half-rebuilt teeth and finished the job. For seconds, it was all he could do to remain upright. He hadn't even the strength to put out a hand and steady himself on the skinned, gray-membraned interior of the open tank door. But if he fell, he did not know how long it would be before he rose again, if he had the courage to try it at all. Sticky feet.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.